click on the link of LearnSmart. This is how you're going to read your textbook, and then I give them a LearnSmart best practices, how to work all the way through the LearnSmart assignment, and so that they understand that there's 4 sections of it and how those all work. And they seem to really like it, and a lot of it is because there's audio to it. They can, if they're tired, it can read some of it to them, and so they seem to really like it.
Do you are those weekly reading assignments as well? Is that included in the kind of
yes.
weekly work? Yeah. Okay.
And Connect has it where you can, for the LearnSmart, you can require more time or less time for that assignment. So it just depends on if it's a super important chapter, I'll require more time spent there or not. It just depends on what the topic is.
Do you have assigned multiple chapters within one?
Yes.
LearnSmart assignment? Yeah.
Yes.
Depending on how you organize.
Yeah, there's normally 2 or 3 chapters per week, but then some weeks they'll have a major exam that they take online, so there's no homework that week. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what week it is, or if they have a speech due that week, they don't have so many chapters due, so it just depends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And besides the SmartBook assignments, are there question types within Connect that you prefer to use? Like, is it mostly questions around videos or interactives?
Well, I do love the videos, and there's usually several questions, once they've watched the video. The drag and drop kind of vocabulary type things I really think are useful. There was outlining assignments that they can drag and drop to get the outline order. Those are good assignments. Anything that requires them to be interactive, to me, keeps it more interesting for them. So I prefer those kind.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we talked a little bit about,
I don't do many short answer and that kind of thing at all.
Writing. Okay.
Yeah.
Other than, what they're writing for their speech.
Yeah, most of everything I use in Connect is it's auto-graded so that they get instant feedback. They have unlimited attempts on some assignments so they can keep trying. So those are nice.
Okay. Great. We talked a little bit about the rubrics you use for yourself and for peer review. Do you ever look at sort of aggregated data produced by those rubrics?
Not really, no.
Mm-hmm. Does the data get reported to anybody else?
No.
Okay.
We do turn in kind of percentages as far as those student learning outcomes that I told you about from the ACGM. We have to turn into our instructional research department kind of what, percentage passed each of those SLOs for each class each semester. So I just report that data, but not necessarily rubric data.
Okay. So those rubrics are not tied to the SLOs?
Right.
Okay. Okay. And what would you say a typical quiz or exam is like? Is it 50 multiple choice questions?
30 to 50 multiple choice or true false as far as the major exams.
Okay. And how do students review for those exams? Is there anything you do either in class or that you point them to?
There is review questions that they answer that kind of are general for the chapter that I'll post out there. Now, they don't have to turn them in, but they are put out there. So, a list of questions. If you know how to do this, and this, you should do fine on the exam so that they can then go back to the LearnSmart assignment, reread those sections if they want to over those specific topics. So it just gives them a little bit of direction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what types of study materials do they create for themselves if you know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay. Any current limitations you have around assessments? I know you mentioned like sort of sticking to the graded side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Any other limitations?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And what types of assessments would you like to do that you can't currently do or don't do?
In Connect, or
Yeah.
I don't think there's any that I would like to do. I would like the speech capture to work better and not be as frustrating. But I like the program, so I mean I like having it in there. It's just the uploading issue is frustration.
Mm-hmm. Anything outside of Connect? Like, are there things that you would do if you had more time?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Do you have concerns around cheating on exams?
Obviously, in an online class, you always wonder about that. We do. I don't know if you've heard of biosignature. Our campus we use biosignature, which means they have to have to log into our Blackboard and then to get into each class, they have a unique signature that they have to do on a touchpad that can't be duplicated. I mean, you could sit next to me and do my same signature and it would never be duplicated. So they can't even get into the class unless they use that biosignature.
Oh, okay.
So it's a neat tool. I think it's kind of expensive, but we use it. So,
but that's not for. Is that for every assignment that they do?
That's for every class when they get
for
in.
every class. Okay.
You can set it per assignment, but I don't usually do that. The only thing that I see, and I'm sure there's more cheating than I realize, but there is people that will, they don't have an audience, they don't have enough audience members, so they'll stuff people. They'll make fake dummies.
Oh my gosh.
I'm dead serious.
Oh, wow.
So, that wears a hat and they'll kind of jiggle it occasionally so that it looks like it's moving, and that, kind of makes my job funny. But they will. Oh my
God, that's so funny.
Yes, they'll do it though. And I take off 5 points per missing audience member. So really, you're only losing 20 points if you don't have an audience. But it does take you from 100 to an 80 if you're not going to have an audience. But they'll still stuff them.
What about plagiarism? Is that a concern?
I've caught, they don't, and I tell them this in the class at the very beginning. Anything that you can Google, I can Google too. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing a speech over the Titanic and you Google Titanic outlines, I probably have all of those already stored on my computer, waiting for you to turn in one that looks identical. So just know that I have Google too. And they'll Google persuasive speeches, and I'll occasionally get an entire, an entire outline that was off the internet. So
wow, it
happens. But
do you use any tools, or is it just like a Google thing?
We don't use any tools, no.
Okay. Like I know Blackboard has Safe Assign, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't use, not for an outline. That and turn it in, it triggers too much on an outline kind of format.
Yeah.
Than it does in a paragraph format. So it was a frustration.
Okay. How do you make sure your assignments fit into the time frame of the course? Are there trade-offs you're making?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of have done it long enough to know, how long it takes to, or it should take to finish this much work. And I ask them, did you feel like you were overwhelmed this week? And they're like, no, it didn't take very long, so they kind of give me feedback on that too.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about how you communicate with students about assignments. So you use that remind tool and emails and stuff like that. So I want to move on now to our last mock-up, which is about instructor and student reporting needs.
Okay.
So this is a little bit small. Let me try and, there we go. Okay. So any metrics that you're currently using to gauge performance? Is it just, grades on